They were 6 and 7, wide-eyed, full of energy, still young enough to believe in magic. And one summer, I broke that magic. It started with the constant bickering. Every day felt like a storm brewing inside my own home. Toys became weapons in sibling turf wars. Little voices rose to shouts, and patience, mine especially, ran out faster than I could refill it. One day, I snapped. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't scold. I went straight to the source of so many of their arguments, their iPad minis. Each of them had one. Small, sleek, a window into games, videos, and distractions that could swallow up hours of their day. I picked them up. I looked at those bright cases and smudged screens, and I told my kids they were gone, sold, never to be seen again. The look on their faces, I will never forget it. Confusion first, then disbelief, then the tears. They cried hard, as if I had taken away a piece of their little worlds. And maybe I had. I cleaned the iPads that night, wiped off the fingerprints, tucked the chargers neatly into their original boxes, even smoothed the cables like they'd just come from the store. I was ready to sell them. I told myself it was the right thing, a punishment that matched my frustration. But I couldn't do it. I put them in a box. I put that box in the back of the closet, and I closed the door. Summer passed, then fall. The house was quieter. The arguments weren't gone, but they were fewer. They played outside more, drew on paper, built forts, learned to negotiate for toys instead of instantly turning to a glowing screen. And slowly, I felt the tension between us ease. They had been good, so good, and I found myself proud of them. And then, Christmas started creeping closer. Normally, I loved the season. The lights, the music, the way the air feels charged with possibility. But this year, money was tight. Tighter than I'd ever wanted my kids to notice. The idea of going into debt for a pile of wrap boxes made my chest hurt. I wanted to give them something special, but the numbers in my bank account were a cold, hard stop. And then I remembered the closet. Those 2 little boxes, sitting untouched, holding devices they'd loved once and could love again. An idea began to take shape. What if I restored them to factory settings, made them look brand new, bought fresh cases, bright colors, maybe even their favorite patterns, to distract from any tiny marks they might recognize, wrapped them up, and set them under the tree like nothing had ever happened. The kids would be thrilled. I'd save hundreds. And maybe, just maybe, it would feel like a reward for their good behavior since that long, hot summer. But as the thought settled in, so did the doubt. Would I be lying to them? Pretending something old was something new? Was it even a gift if it was something they'd already owned? Or was it just returning what I had taken away, months too late? I could hear the voices of other parents in my head. Some would say it was resourceful, that kids don't care if something is new or not, only that it's theirs again. Others, well, I imagined the judgment, that I'd be manipulating my kids, that I'd be teaching them it's okay to twist the truth when it suits you, that the original punishment had been too harsh in the first place. And then there was another voice, my own, asking a harder question. If they'd changed without the iPads, if their behavior had improved without them, was giving the iPads back the right move at all? That thought gnawed at me, because deep down, I knew part of their progress had come from stepping away from the constant stimulation. They'd had to find other ways to spend their time, to connect with each other, to entertain themselves. Would handing them back the very devices I'd blamed for so much trouble undo all of that? Still, the alternative was staring me in the face. A Christmas morning with fewer gifts, maybe just some small things that wouldn't light up their eyes in the same way. And I hated that idea. I pictured their excitement as they tore through wrapping paper, the pure joy of seeing a screen flicker to life in their hands again. I imagined them thinking Santa had noticed their good behavior, or that somehow I'd found a way to buy them something expensive, even when times were tough. But then, I imagined the other possibility. That they'd recognize the scuff on the corner, the way the charger bent slightly at the plug, the faint scratch across the glass, that their joy would fade into confusion, maybe even betrayal, that they'd remember I'd told them these were gone forever, and now I was handing them back as if they were new. It was a fragile plan, and it could break in so many ways. Some people would say, just give them back before Christmas. Make it clear it's because they've earned them with good behavior, not because it's December. Then buy something small, even if it's cheap, so they still have something genuinely new to unwrap. Others would tell me to sell the iPads for real this time. Use the money to buy a different gift, something more age-appropriate, something that wouldn't cause the same fights. And there were harsher opinions too, the ones that questioned why kids so young had iPads at all. That said, money wouldn't be so tight if I hadn't spent so much on them in the first place. That accused me of taking the easy way out by putting screens in their hands instead of finding other ways to keep them busy. But the truth is, I didn't want to punish them anymore. I wanted to see their joy. I wanted to give them back something they'd lost and missed. I wanted to believe that, after months of proving themselves, they could handle it. Still, would the lesson I'd tried to teach be erased the moment they powered those screens back on? Would they think that punishments don't really stick? That all they had to do was wait until Christmas to get back whatever they'd lost? And what about the trust between us? Would they see me as someone who plays games with the truth? Someone who can turn their own belongings into bargaining chips, only to wrap them up and pretend they're brand new. The closer Christmas came, the heavier it all felt. I could almost see the scene in my head. The twinkling tree lights, the wrapping paper scattered across the floor, their faces lighting up as they opened the boxes. I could hear their laughter, and I could also hear the silence that might follow if they realized the truth. It was a decision that balanced on the thinnest edge, between practicality and honesty, between rewarding good behavior and rewriting history. I stood in front of that closet more than once, my hand on the box, wondering which kind of parent I wanted to be. And here I am, still asking myself the same thing. So, am I the asshole? As your host, here's my reflection. This story isn't just about iPads. It's about the invisible contracts we create with the people we love, especially our children. When we make a promise, even in the heat of anger, we shape their understanding of trust, consequence, and fairness. Break that promise without acknowledging it, and it's not just an object we're handing back. It's a message about how the world works. The comments from people who've lived this or watched it happen remind us that kids remember more than we think. Some carry the sting of a broken trust for years. Others, with the right conversation, can see a parent's vulnerability and learn that adults make mistakes too, and can own up to them. There's a bigger takeaway here. The best gifts aren't always the ones we wrap in shiny paper. Sometimes the gift is honesty. Sometimes It's a conversation where we say, I didn't get this right before, but I want to make it right now. So I'll leave you with this. How would you handle it? Do you return something as a gift and risk the truth coming out? Or do you choose the harder road of explanation and maybe a less exciting Christmas morning? Think about it, and let's hear your verdict.